Space has no sound, but inside Éden Prime, the whispers of 10 female voices filled the metallic corridors. The air was heavy, a mixture of excitement and fear. We had been chosen or captured for something beyond our understanding. Hackers, mercenaries, bounty hunters, dangerous women, desirable women, women tested to the limits of mind and body. He first appeared as a cold and firm voice over the ship's communication system. Unther. His presence was like a ghost of steel, relentless and omniscient.
You cannot escape, but you can survive if you pass the experiment.
Each of us reacted differently. Each of us had our own story to tell.
The first night was chaos inside my mind, solitude mixed with the strange heat spreading through my body. They wanted to test my desire and my intelligence, as if they were opposites, but I had always known they were the same. I pressed my forehead against the cold glass of my cell. The artificial city projected outside flickered in neon, mocking my condition. We were here, watched like lab rats in an experiment of pleasure and despair. My breathing grew heavier as the sensors began capturing my physical state. Then Unther's voice cut through the silence.
Interesting. You fight against yourself. Will you resist what is to come?
I shivered. I didn't know if it was fear or something else. But one thing was certain. Unther knew exactly how to break our defenses, and he was just getting started.
The first electric shock coursed through my body, and for a moment I saw a fragment of memory. A stolen kiss in a Neo-Tokyo alley, a blade at the throat of a traitor, a code that cost me my freedom. Now, trapped in this cursed ship, I felt my body manipulated by stimuli I could not control. The experiment wasn't just about desire, it was about domination. And Unther was the master of this game.
You think you're strong, Nix. His voice was a deep whisper through the speakers of my cell. But strength is not resistance. Strength is knowing when to yield.
I closed my eyes, focusing on every sensation, trying to identify patterns. If there was programming behind these stimuli, then there were flaws. And if there were flaws, I could exploit them. No matter how hard they tried to control me, I was still the most dangerous hacker in the galaxy, and soon Unther would learn to fear what he had created.
The monitors lit up in my cell. Code scrolled rapidly across the screen. Unther's was testing my mind, throwing challenges only the best hackers could solve.
You want to escape, don't you? But do you really? His voice was like steel against my skin.
My fingers hesitated. I had always been the best, never faced a system I couldn't crack. But this time, my own body was the code I needed to decipher, and every new sensation told me I was changing. Something inside me was awakening, a different hunger, a craving for something beyond what I understood. Éden Prime was transforming me. But transformation does not mean submission. If they were shaping me, I would shape them back. Hacking the system was only the first step. The next, hacking Unther's mind.
Rage had always been my fuel. I bowed to no one, not even to my own instincts. But here, inside this ship, every invisible touch, every subtle stimulus, forced me to face something I had always avoided, my own vulnerability. I resisted, ignored the sensors trying to read my impulses, the whispers trying to break me, but it was like fighting the urge to breathe. What do you do when your own body betrays you? When your mind starts doubting its own strength?
You want to fight me, Sable. Unther Sip's voice was a challenge, but the real fight isn't Sip against me. It sips against yourself.
Then I realized the fight wasn't about resisting. It was about understanding, about turning that energy into something I could use against him. After all, who hasn't wanted to see chaos consume order?
The cell was engulfed in shadows, but for me, darkness had never been an obstacle. I saw everything. I always saw beyond reading secrets in glances, deciphering the silent language of fear and temptation. And Unther knew that. He watched me, patient, dangerous, not with the impatience of a hungry hunter, but with the precision of someone who knew the real game was played in silence. I watched him back.
You are a predator, Raven. His voice slid through the cell, rough, enveloping, so close, I could almost feel the heat of it against my skin. But do you know what happens when two beasts stare into the darkness?
A provocative shiver ran through me. He wanted to break me, to test my limits, to force my submission without using brute force. But Unther didn't yet know the truth. I wasn't just a huntress. I was the abyss itself, and even monsters like him learned to fear what they found when they stared too deep.
The trials continued, day after day, growing more intense. Some of us began to yield, others resisted fiercely, but we all knew one thing: we were not just test subjects. That was when Vesper managed to hack a fragment of the ship's system. We discovered that we were part of a study for a greater and far more sinister purpose. The aliens were creating something from us, something that involved absolute control over the human mind and desire. But what they didn't anticipate was that by testing our limits, they were strengthening us, and at the center of it all was Unther. Eden Prime would not hold us forever. A revolution was about to begin, and we would be the first to prove that no one can tame a woman who has learned to master herself. They underestimated us, but Unther would soon discover that even a master can lose control of his own game.